As I've gotten older and as I'm beginning to navigate my early 30s, I'm trying to be a lot better about admitting when I'm wrong. So I have to come onto this podcast and just admit that I was fully wrong about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding, and she did, in fact, get married in the same place where she sung Speak Now 10 plus years ago. I thought the rumors were just rumors. I did not think there was any truth to this. But lo and behold, they sure did tie the knot on 34th Street. And now that it has happened and I've thought about it a little bit more, it actually does make a lot of sense. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, of course Taylor Swift got married at MSG. Is it a little bit tacky? Of course. But isn't Taylor Swift a little tacky? And I say that, complimentary. That's not a dig or anything. But I'm definitely a little surprised that Taylor actually did end up tying the knot at the Garden, but I am getting way ahead of myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Too Pop to Handle. I am your host, Andrew Nucatola, and as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. It is officially July, which means Pride Month is behind us, and I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I could not be happier. Pride Month damn near took me out this year, and I know what you're thinking. You could have just not done it. You could have just not gone out 5 days in a row and not gone crazy. I have FOMO. I like to be out. I like to, have a little fun. God forbid a boy likes to celebrate his pride, crazy concept. But yeah, this was rough. This was, I walked out of the club at 1, 2 a.m. on the Monday after on Sunday. And I was like, thank fucking God. I felt a tear roll down my cheek. It was fun. I had a blast, don't get me wrong, but I am very happy that it is behind us, and I am definitely not drinking as much for the month of July into August. I'm going to, moderate it because it was a lot. Maybe it's my early 30s. Maybe my early 30s are catching up to me, and now I need to dial back on pride a little bit, but until it kills me, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But that being said, July is here, and I am very happy that July is here. We have a lot happening this month. I mean, obviously, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. We have music from Madonna, Charlie XCX, Ariana Grande. I am finally going to the Eternal Sunshine Tour this month. Vibes are high in July, and I am very excited for this month. And I'm just excited to be back and chatting with you guys. It's been a minute since I've done just a regular classic Too Pop to Handle episode. Of course, I had Giselle on for 2 episodes, which was fabulous. I had Josh on to do a little reality TV recap because I did kind of feel like I got really behind on my TV recaps. And I mean, I'm still not caught up on Drag Race, but I'll get there eventually. It's a lost cause for the podcast now, but I'll catch up. I'll catch up when I get there. But I feel like I was just behind on everything. So it was so nice to just sit down and chat with him about all things reality TV. And he's such an expert in all of those things. So that was so much fun. And I mean, of course, Giselle was a delight to have on the podcast. And it worked out that I was able to split that into 2 episodes because we just had so much to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little guest segments, for the last couple of weeks. But we are back. And what better way to be back than when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce tie the knot? I keep talking about it. I know we will get there in just a moment. But let's just get into it. I feel like there's so much to chat about, so much to catch up on. Let's just kick things off the way that we always do and chat about some music, and kick things off with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week and on our releases coming up this week. We had a pretty heavy slate last week. The biggest one, I think, for any gay man and just for most pop culture fans is Madonna has released Confessions 2, and it's fucking great. It is fantastic. And I'm not necessarily a Madonna head. I listen to her albums, but I'm not going back to album tracks that often. It's just, I don't know. It never was something that I was always going back to. This is an album that I will be going back to continuously. And if there is a Madonna album that I do go back to, it is Confessions on a Dance Floor. And I just think this is such a great follow-up to that album. I mean, the fact that she released this album 21 years after the original album came out, 67 years into her life, 40 something years into her career, and it is this fantastic. It just goes to show we are so lucky to be alive at the same time as an artist like Madonna. I feel like she's an artist that I've never not known. Everybody in my age demographic and our generation, we've all grown up knowing Madonna's name. I mean, at the VMAs and, everything she was just always doing things that were so culture shifting. And that was 20 something years into her career. She has such a legacy of just creating culture and really being a pioneer in pop music and dance music and just for like women pop artists in general. So to see her this many years into her career, not only still releasing incredible albums, but having like really great rollouts and like going to London and being a DJ for the night and doing a pop-up show in Times Square. Like, yeah, maybe she's a little slower than she used to be, but the woman is 67 and she is still doing full press rollouts for an incredible album. And I've been loving this album rollout. Like, I've been loving the singles. I love the Coachella moment with Sabrina. I had a blast seeing her in Times Square. Like, she's really been killing it with this rollout. And I think this album, it was just like destined to be successful because of the way that they are promoting it. I mean, Grindr has been pushing it since before the first single even came out. Like, it has really been a really fun rollout just from like a marketing perspective. But the music is so good. I mean, these are like true classic dance songs. They're narrative. They're kind of telling stories about Madonna's early days kicking off her career. I mean, you listen to Danceteria and she's like talking about going downtown and going to the club and who's in the room with her back in the day. And it's really cool to see her kind of reflecting on her career and singing about it in not so much present tense, but singing about it now and looking back on the things that she's been through, the things that she has kind of pioneered for herself. Just like a really, really fantastic pop album. And I'm so happy that, you know, an album that is so beloved like Confessions on a Dance Floor now has this part 2 that is so incredibly good. I mean, everything, of course, all the singles, Danceteria, like this album really has just fantastic pop music on it, and I've been so excited for it as she's been rolling it out, as like we've seen the Sabrina collab and everything happening. And I just think for her to be able to produce an album this incredible, this long into her career is not something that a lot of artists can or will do in their lifetime. And it's really fucking cool to be able to live through this and see, you know, this is something that not every artist will ever be able to do. So being able to watch Madonna do this and like experience it in real time is a very cool thing. And I urge everybody to go listen to it. It is fucking fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, Beyonce surprise dropped a song for us over the weekend. But if you are a member of the Beehive, this isn't so much of a new song to you, but it is a new recording of it. She dropped Morning Dew Donk on Saturday morning. Of course, it was the 4th, which of course ties into the 4 of it all with Beyonce always. But this is actually an album cut from Self-Titled that leaked years ago. There's just been like a demo floating around the internet forever, and it is pretty similar to this new, you know, version of it. There's updated vocals for sure. There's things that she's cut out, but this has been like a song that's floated around the Beehive for years. And the fact that she just like randomly surprise dropped it on a Saturday morning is very insane. It's very R&B. It's very sexy. I mean, Morning Dew is very much, you know, if you listen to the song, you can pick up very quickly what Morning Dew means. But I was not expecting this, nor was anybody. And what's interesting to me is that it's kicking off a 60-day countdown to the 20th year anniversary of B-Day, which turns 20 on September 4th because it came out on Beyonce's B-Day. And the fact that she is kicking off this reissue or whatever this 20th anniversary is with a self-titled album cut is definitely a little interesting to me. I would imagine she would have used a B-Day album cut to kick this off. However, Donk is a song that like the Beehive has been begging for years. So maybe it was just like, you know what? We're going to use this. We're going to tie it into B-Day and just like give the people what they want. Also interesting about Beyonce's birthday this year, not only is it 20 years of B-Day, but Jay-Z just announced a show in London on her birthday. Of course, he is celebrating 30 years of Jay-Z and of Reasonable Doubt, and The Blueprint is 25 this year. So there's lots of celebrations with Jay-Z and Beyonce, and he just announced a show in London on her birthday, which, you know, I just feel like you don't do that unless you're going to do something together. So I'm very curious like what we're going to get on September 4th when it's Beyonce's birthday, 20 years of B-Day, Jay-Z's doing the show in London. Lots of things going on, and a lot of them are not Act 3, but I'm kind of okay with that. Like as much as I want Act 3 and like I want to see what comes of this 3-act project, I'm also kind of like, you take your time, Beyonce, because as soon as Act 3 comes out and the tour happens and everything, I do kind of think she's going to take a step back from music and her own projects and like be a mom, or just like maybe she'll go like behind the scenes and produce things or whatever it is. Like who knows what she's going to do, but I don't think we're going to see her for a while. So if Beyonce wants to release album cuts and celebrate 20 years of B-Day and go show up at Jay-Z's show and celebrate her birthday, that is fine with me, because the longer that she waits for Act 3 to come out, the more time that we have with her in the public eye, because once Act 3 is out and once that tour is over, I don't think we're seeing her for a while. And I don't want to, I don't want to manifest that, but it's just kind of what I'm imagining to happen. So you take your time, Beyonce. You give us another album cut, give us a 20-year anniversary, whatever you want to do. I will take it. Beyonce gives us what we want. We don't ask her for things. She tells us what we need, kind of vibe, But very exciting to see, her first single in 2 years, be a song that nobody thought we were ever going to get a finalized version of. And also just really cool that she actually like went in and remastered it and like recorded new vocals on top of it. And she did cut some things out of it and changed it a little bit from the demo. But it's like core values are still there. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'll always take a Beyonce release. And this was a song that we've known for so long. So to finally have it, I was like, what the hell's going on? The next release we had was Carly Rae Jepsen. She is doing a double album, Day and Night, which you guys know how I feel about a double album. I don't love it. I think it's a lot to consume. I said this about Tortured Poet. I just think anytime there are two albums, it's too much music for me to consume, at least. Like, my brain cannot listen to 24 tracks, I believe Carly Rae Jepsen is releasing. Like, that is so much music. However, Carly Rae Jepsen has never let us down, so I'm gonna hold out hope. I'm gonna see it through. I'm gonna hear it out. I'm never going to deny a Carly Rae Jepsen album. But double albums and we don't always get along. However, that being said, we have the lead single called On Wires, and I'm into it. It's kind of like a very like sexy vibe for Carly, considering like we've gotten from her in the past, and I like it. I'm imagining, because on the album, like on Apple Music, it says it's on disc 1. So I imagine disc 1 is going to be Days, and I imagine disc 2 is going to be Nights. So I'm thinking Nights is going to be much more like dancey pop upbeat, which is definitely more my vibe. And I'm imagining Days is going to be, more slower, a little, not so much sexier. Like, I think this is like as sexy as we're going to get on the album, but I think it's going to be a little more stripped back kind of vibes. And then Night will be definitely more like upbeat. I'm thinking like almost like how Miley did on Endless Summer Vacation, where the first half is AM or Days, and then the second half is PM, Night, and it kind of has that like dance switch halfway through. I'm imagining that's the vibe that we're going to get. So if that is true, I definitely will navigate more towards Nights, but we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, Carly Rae Jepsen has never done anything wrong in her life, so I'm imagining I'm going to enjoy this music. I just don't know how much replay value it's going to have for me, but this being the lead single, I am into it. It is a very kind of a switch-up vibe we've gotten from her in the last couple of years, and I am into it. And then the final release that we had last week is Miss Charli XCX. Of course, we have music, fashion, and film coming out in 2 weeks from now. Not this Friday, but next Friday, I believe, or maybe 2 Fridays from now. I don't know. It's like July 24th, I think. So whenever that is, we're getting the album then. Maybe that's in like 3 weeks, actually. But she released Wink Wink, the third single from this album. So we are coming up on like a lot of singles for this album. And she released the like the album track lengths today. And the songs are very short, which I'm okay with, but I hope she stops releasing singles, because I don't want the whole album to be ruined by the time that it comes out. I feel like keep it at these 3, and then let's keep it rocking and rolling. But I like Wink Wink a lot. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very, it is a lot of kind of just like talking on the track and not so much singing, but I'm not expecting Charli XCX to be like delivering crazy big vocal moments, especially given what we've heard from this album so far with Rock Music and Spring Summer 26. I'm not expecting that from this album. I kind of now know what is in store for it. And I like this a lot. I think it's fun that she's kind of just doing whatever she wants after Brat. And we've talked so much about what does life post Brat look like for Charli XCX. And of course we had Wuthering Heights, and she did The Moment, and she's been kind of dipping into like other things and dipping into music, fashion, and film, given the title of the album. So I am very curious to see like how the whole album rolls out and like what the entire project sounds like. I'm going to a viewing or listening party, which maybe this is like my own fault, but I didn't realize there was going to be a full visual component to this album. But given the fact that it is literally called Music, Fashion, and Film, or is it Music, Film, Fashion? I don't know, whatever it is. Film is in there somewhere. So it does make sense that there is a film element to this album, and I'm going to see it Thursday night. So I'll chat all about that with you guys next week, let you guys know my thoughts on the album, but I'm very excited there. And I'm really into this era. With rock music, it was a little like, I wasn't ever not into it, but I was a little like, okay, what are we getting? It was kind of like, what are we to expect in a follow-up album to Brat? And now that we're 3 songs into it, I'm like, okay, wait, I see the vision, I see what's happening, and I am into it. Very excited for this album. Very excited to see this film on Thursday. So we will chat all about that next week. But those are all of our releases from last week. Upcoming this week, we only have Rebecca Black releasing the second single from her upcoming album. It is called Hot, Wet, Delirious. I wasn't obsessed with the first single, but I did like it, but I wasn't like screaming, crying, throwing up about it, but it did intrigue me enough to continue listening to the singles. And of course, I just love Rebecca's music anyway, so I would regardless. But we are getting Hot, Wet, and Delirious this Friday from Rebecca Black, so we would chat all about that next week. And that's the only thing on my radar. So that means it is time to hop into the pop culture moments of the week that were too pop to handle. And I think I've already talked about this wedding 17 times just in the intro and first segment of this episode. So you can imagine the very first thing that we are going to be chatting about this week is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting married. They have tied the knot. And like I said, it was true. They got married at Madison Square Garden. And I really did not think they were going to get married at the Garden. I thought it was a complete decoy up until like the week of, or like really like the day before. My thoughts were they were going to do like a rehearsal dinner and maybe like a welcome party at the Garden. And then, because it was clear something was going to be happening. There were all these permits that were going out. They were setting up this carpet and there was like decor going in and things like that. So we knew something was happening. So there was no denying they were going to be in the building at some point, but I was convinced they were going to do like a rehearsal dinner, a welcome party, and then from the welcome party, like bus people to another venue. And that way, like no one would know who was inside. There would be no time for the paparazzi to set up at the second venue if nobody knew where it was. So even if the paparazzi followed the buses, they wouldn't be able to get situated and set up with a camera before they actually could see anybody going in. And knowing how Taylor is with security, obviously she wasn't going to let that happen anyway. But lo and behold, the entire wedding was at Madison Square Garden. And when you think about Taylor Swift and the way that she really prioritizes security, privacy, and safety over anything else, it's actually not that surprising. Like an arena really is the only place where you can have an event like this and not have to worry about anybody peeking through a window or flying a drone or a helicopter or anything like that. So for Taylor's peace of mind to be able to actually enjoy her wedding day and know that not a single person, there is no way in the world a single person was going to snap a photo of her, of the guests, of anything happening inside. It is smart to do it at an arena. And if you're going to do a wedding at an arena, you're going to pick Madison Square Garden. Like imagine she did it at like the Prudential Center or like the State Farm Arena. Like obviously she's going to do it at Madison Square Garden. It's the most famous venue in the world. So after I swallowed my pride and was like, okay, they actually are. After I saw like the billboard and the press release, I was like, okay, so they are getting married at the Garden. And considering this is the girl who was carried in and out of her apartment for months in a suitcase, just so she would not be seen in that whole era of her wanting to be hidden and, not in the public eye, I honestly don't think we should be that surprised that Taylor Swift did get married at Madison Square Garden. And from what the guests are saying, it was beautiful. Everyone's saying that despite it being like a 1,000 to 15,000 or 1,000 to 1,500 people, it was a gorgeous little intimate setup inside, and they've transformed it into a garden, which is another thing I feel like we have to consider. Like the MSG that Taylor Swift's wedding guests walked into is not the same MSG that we walk into when we go to a Knicks game, when we go see Harry Styles, when, they're not, I don't think they're walking past a popcorn stand. I don't think they're walking past like the beer garden they have at MSG. Like this was a very different experience than any of us will ever have inside of that building, just given the fact that Taylor Swift is unfortunately a capital B billionaire and Travis Kelce, He's definitely got some money as well. So there's definitely a lot of funding that went into making sure this did not look or feel like MSG. So, when you boil it down and think about it like that, it does make a lot of sense. Something about the night of the wedding that really shocked me is the way that people did not understand what the billboard meant, the JUST&T married. I personally thought it was incredibly easy to understand, and like it wasn't that complex of a concept to digest. And even if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, everybody knew that they were getting married at the Garden that weekend. Like, it was literally all anybody could talk about. I was on the ferry home from the beach on Friday night, and like literally I heard it from every single direction, people talking about this wedding. Like, everybody knew it was happening. This wasn't a secret thing going on. I mean, it was happening at the Garden. Everybody was up in arms about it online. Like, everybody was so mad that Taylor Swift was getting married at the Garden, and it was this whole thing. So when they flashed that JUST&T married thing and people are like, what does that mean? Is it an AT&T billboard? I do worry about the reading comprehension skills of some people, because like I personally did not think it was that hard to understand. I also thought it was really funny that T-Pain sent out a press release probably as soon as they kissed. Like, I imagine as soon as they said you can now kiss the bride, T-Pain literally pulled out her iPhone and hit send on that press release. And so that way we would all just shut the fuck up and knew some tidbits about what was going on inside. We found out that they both were wearing custom Christian Dior. We found out that Adam Sandler was their wedding officiant, which is definitely a little strange. I know that his daughters are big Taylor fans, and I know that they've talked about each other before, and I know that Travis was in Happy Gilmore too, but it definitely was a little bit of a question mark. But also at the same time, like, who knows, like looking at this entire wedding and like looking at the guest list specifically, it's like there was kind of just room for everybody, and we'll get into the guest list in just a moment. But then the other thing that really stood out to me from the press release was that they did no bridesmaids or like a best man or anything like that. Instead, they had like their siblings up there with them, which I thought was really sweet, especially considering like Taylor Swift and her girl gang has been through many rounds of edits. There's been people who are in, who are out, who get back in, and not that I think it would have caused drama internally. I do think, we know who would have been up there with her. It would have been Abigail, Selena, the Haim sisters, maybe Sabrina, Gigi Hadid would be up there. We know who would be up there with her. But I just kind of think, why bring everybody up there? We're already having this big extravagant wedding. If you're like, who is going to be up there with you, especially your Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Like, you don't need to have an entire wedding party. So I do think it's sweet that they had Austin and Jason up there with them and kind of just the only ones by their side, and then everybody else was kind of just there to watch. But let's talk about this guest list, because it appears that there was room for everybody at the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding. So it was about 1,000 people were at the wedding. I'm hearing 1,000 to 1,500. I don't know the exact number, but there was a lot of people in this room. And that being said, it does make sense why there were so many people that I wouldn't expect to be at the wedding. When you have 1,000 people to fill in the Garden, you're going to be a little loosey-goosey with the guest list. And when you're Taylor and Travis, everybody in Hollywood, whether you are close or you bumped elbows backstage at a game or whatever it is. Like, it's not the craziest thing to have random people at the wedding, but I'm still just like stuck on some of the people who were at this wedding. Obviously, we know, like I said, like Abigail, Haim, Sabrina Carpenter, Gigi Hadid, Ed Sheeran, Selena Gomez, Jack Antonoff, they're all going to be there. I even saw people who were really shocked at like the GMA anchors. It was like Michael Strahan, Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, like all of them being there. And I'm not that surprised at them being there. Taylor has a very close-knit relationship with GMA and ABC and Disney as a whole. I mean, she does every single announcement ever on Good Morning America. She is very close with the entire team at ABC and Disney and, all of their parent kind of umbrella companies. So I'm not that shocked at them being there. People were really confused as to why they were there. They were like, oh, she just wants press about the wedding. If Taylor Swift wants press about the wedding, there's going to be press about the wedding, whether she wants it or not. And like, she doesn't need the GMA anchors there to make buzz about her wedding. I think they were genuinely invited because she has a close relationship after doing so many announcements there. It's like not the craziest thing in the world. But there were some people who I was like, why is Benson Boone at this wedding? Why is Fergie at this wedding? And I love Fergie. Fergie is my girl. You guys know that. But I was a little confused. Also, like Tate McRae, I don't see Taylor and Tate being like that close-knit of friends or like in the same circles. I feel like Tate runs kind of on a different side of Hollywood, and not a good or bad side, but just like not necessarily a side that I would imagine Taylor to be with. You know, I feel like they're kind of like different camps, but I guess when you're Taylor Swift, anyone's going to want to run in your circle. So I shouldn't be that surprised, but there were definitely some people that I was like raising an eyebrow at. I was definitely, there were some people that I was just like, how did you end up on this list? And of course, there were so many people that were also just like, the CEO of AMC who went on a whole think piece about the wedding the day after on LinkedIn and had to delete it, which I thought was crazy. And then, like the big wig people, the football people and the things, the people who are just there because they have money and they're like business partners or whatever. Those aren't the people I'm talking about. There were just like some celebrities in that room. And I was like, how did this come about? Like Ashanti, love, but like, what? It was very, it seemed like the guest list wasn't as tight-knit as one might expect. But if you do think back to when she was on Graham Norton, she was like, oh, everyone's going to be there. Like, everyone's going to know when this happened. So it's not the most surprising. It is just funny to like look at this list and be like, I wonder how that came about. Nikki Glaser was there, which is big for many of reasons. Nikki Glaser is obviously a huge Taylor fan. I think she literally went to the Eras Tour like 23 times, and she's spoken about her in the press so many times. But if you think back, she was in the Miss Americana documentary, like making jokes about Taylor, and like she was part of like the negative side of it, which Nikki Glaser is a comedian, she's going to make jokes about people in not the best light ever all the time. And it's not that she's doing it because they're a bad person, it's because it's her job. So there's obviously no harm, no foul, but there really is a lot of growth there. And speaking about growth, Karlie Kloss being invited to Taylor Swift's wedding feels like a Mad Libs sentence. Like, I cannot believe that out of everybody in Hollywood, Karlie Kloss got an invite to this wedding. And there's a lot of things that people can speculate and think and say about Taylor and Karlie. I am not going to open those floodgates because it is a crazy and scary side of the internet. But as a pop culture person and somebody who just knows the lore, Karlie Kloss was on my do not invite list 100%. I was like, they haven't seen each other in years. They haven't spoken about each other publicly. Like for two people who were so up each other's asses to then turn into what it turned into and like them never speaking. And of course there was the tie with like Karlie and the Kushners back to Scooter Braun. And like, there's a lot of reasons as to why Taylor and Karlie wouldn't be friends anymore. And considering the way that the Girl Gang has been edited so many times, like the fact that Karlie Kloss was at this wedding is insane to me. But it does also kind of go to show that like we know nothing about Taylor Swift and who she's friends with, who she hangs out with, who, what she wants us to know. Like she is so back to like this whole privacy thing. Like no shit, she got married inside of MSG, so nobody could see what's going on inside. She is a very private person, and we really do only know what she wants us to know about her. And I just cannot believe that Karlie Kloss was at this wedding. Like, it really is such a shock, especially considering the fact that Blake Lively wasn't at the wedding, nor was Kelly Taylor. And like, I would imagine Blake and Kelly would have an invite before Karlie would any day. Just knowing what we know about their timeline and their friendships. And I thought Canceled on Life of a Showgirl was about Blake Lively. Obviously, it is not, because the fact that Blake Lively was not at this wedding and Taylor is the godmother, maybe was the godmother, of both of her and Ryan's kids. She hates this woman. Like, she wants nothing to do with Blake Lively. And like, this was the real deciding factor on whether or not they are friends or not. And I mean, Blake was at some of the games with her. Like in the early days of Taylor and Travis, Blake was in the suites. Blake was, there. And the fact that she wasn't, and if you do think back, Blake was not at the Super Bowl with Taylor this year. And that was kind of like the first strike to be like, okay, she's not there. Like, they must not be close or friends anymore. That was kind of like the biggest first flag of it. But then again, like, we don't know anything about Taylor Swift. She doesn't tell us anything other than on her album. So Karlie Kloss is at her wedding. We didn't even know they were still chatting. Like, we had no idea. The fact that Blake Lively was not at this wedding is insane. And also, like, the tellers, like, when was it when Taylor was her Golden Globes date? Was that 2024 2024, 2023. Like, this is all very recent. So I don't know if it's a matter of like, everything has happened so recently that there's no way for them to rekindle. Like, I do imagine there was a period of time where Carly and Taylor did not speak, and then they just rekindled something. You know, maybe they got over it. They were like, actually, I do really miss you. They were so close. I mean, they were connected at the hip, and I'm sure there was a period where they didn't speak and there was a falling out. But, you know, you grow, and like I said, as you get older, you admit when you're wrong and you're able to swallow your pride. So maybe that's what happened. But maybe the whole Blake thing is just like too new and like the wound is still fresh. I don't know. But the fact that Blake Lively was not at this wedding is really, really telling of where their friendship lands. And I do think like, I don't know if they're coming back from this. Not that, who knows if they want it or not? Like, who knows if they still want to be friends ever? Like, maybe it really is a bridge that is burned and can never be rekindled. But who knows? I mean, we saw Taylor forgive Kim and Kanye time and time again. And like that whole thing went up and down. And obviously now it's over. But like Taylor notoriously seems to be a forgiving person from what we know. So who knows if her and Blake will ever like rekindle again. But just like the fact that Karlie Kloss was at this wedding, I'm going to keep saying it, and Blake Lively was not, I'm never going to be over it. Truly, I will never be over it. Another guest that I was really looking forward to seeing if they would show up or not is Zoe Kravitz and Harry Styles. Obviously, Zoe was going to be there. There was no doubt there. But it was like, is Harry going to show up to this wedding of his ex? And, you know, Taylor and Harry, I'm sure they respect each other. They're fine. They spoke at the Grammys that one year when they had to wear their masks, and like, they're good. But it was this question of like, especially if Zoe and Harry are engaged the way that things are being reported lately, like, is Harry going to go to this wedding with Zoe? He did have a show that night, so it did kind of work out in like his favor / just was like, you know what? Even if people want to say there is beef or there isn't beef, like he had a concert, he physically could not be there. So could have just been scheduling, who knows? But I was looking out for Mr. Styles, but of course he had other business to do at Wembley Stadium. Some other tidbits from what we know of the wedding. It's crazy because we haven't seen much. We don't know too much. These are all just like reports, but Stevie Nicks performed, as did Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney reportedly performed I Want to Hold Your Hand live for the first time since 1964, which is a long fucking time. But I guess when Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce ask you to perform at your wedding, you do whatever they want. Like I said, we don't know much about inside, but what we do know is we saw the entranceway. It had like that big TNT logo with a bunch of giant photos. You know, it's not the most shocking thing to have photos of you and your husband or fiance at your wedding, but I was a little shocked at how massive the photos were in the entranceway. Like, they were huge. You could not deny whose wedding you were at when you walked in. And maybe it's what they wanted. Like, this is their wedding. This is literally like the American royal wedding. You know, that's what people are calling it. So the more that I see from this wedding, the more I'm like, unfortunately, yeah, that does make sense. Like, I do see that for a Taylor Swift wedding, but those pictures being so big in the inside of their wedding, it was a little crazy. There's also reports that she walked down the aisle to a piano rendition of Love Story. And honestly, fuck yeah, you're Taylor Swift. You know, you have written about and dreamt about and sung about this day your entire career. You have waited for this your entire life. Fuck yeah, you're going to walk down the aisle to your own love song. And it even ties back to like a couple weeks ago when she showed up at Travis's event and performed Love Story with, who was it? I'm forgetting who she performed it with, but whoever she performed it with, like, this now ties back there. Travis has said that he loves this song, and it's kind of cute. Like, it is a love story. Like, baby, just say yes. I don't know. People are like dragging her for this. I think this is like the least tacky part of the news that we know about the wedding. There were also some handkerchiefs given out with blank space lyrics on it, which I also think is very cute. Something that I'm very tapped into is the whole Lena Dunham of it all. There's reports that she gave a not so well received speech. Apparently she made a comment that like football is just like gay sex on a field or whatever. They're reenacting gay sex or something. And there was like an uncomfortable laughter around the room. I just feel like Lena Dunham is really good at saying the wrong thing. And she kind of just runs with it. Like, it's kind of what she's known for. And I kind of love that for her. Like I'm not, I'm neutral when it comes to Lena Dunham. I'm not like a super fan. I don't hate her. I'm kind of very in the middle. And I just feel like she's always just saying whatever she wants. And she kind of just rolls with it, like she does not care, and she does not think before she speaks. And you know what? Sure. But I was really shocked that she made a speech. Also, like, Jack Antonoff was there. So was that awkward that like Jack and Lena were in the same room? Also, this is like a side tangent, but Margaret Qualley was not at the wedding. And now there's reports that Jack and Margaret aren't doing so hot and they're on the way out. But they like just got married 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Like, I don't know. I would be very shocked if that actually is happening and there is a divorce. But like, it is a little strange that she wasn't at Taylor's wedding. I don't know their dynamic. I don't know like where they stand. But I mean, there might be trouble in paradise for the Antonoff Qualley house. But you know what? There's no trouble in paradise at the Swift Kelce house. Everything is good as gold there. We're still waiting for photos. It is 9:00 on Tuesday, July 7th. And I'm just making sure. I feel like I would know if Taylor Swift posted a photo of her wedding. Still no wedding photo. So who knows when they are coming. I imagine as soon as she pressed post on her, because there's no way this is going up as like a Vogue or a People exclusive. Like this is going up on Taylor Swift's Instagram, maybe as a collab post with Travis. Actually, was their engagement post a collab? I'm curious. But there's no way this is going up anywhere but Taylor's Instagram first. Okay, their engagement post was a collab post. So I imagine we're going to get wedding photos sometime this week as a collab post between the two of them. And as soon as those photos go up, I imagine Dior is going to post at least like details of the dress and the suit. So I think we're really just waiting for Taylor to kind of lift the floodgates on photos of her and anything inside. I don't even know if I need to see inside as much as I just want to see her dress. Like, I just want to know what the dress looked like. I'm curious like how she wore her hair. These are just like things that I'm curious about. I don't love the idea of Travis wearing a white suit because I feel like a bride should be the only one wearing white on her wedding day. But like, who am I to judge? Straight people do whatever they want all the time. So like, go crazy, I guess. But yeah, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, they've tied the knot. It is official. I feel like we have waited for this for so long, and I'm thrilled for her. Like, I'm thrilled for both of them, but I'm so thrilled for her. This has been such like a whirlwind of a relationship. I mean, the fact that this started literally while she was going through a very public kind of like meltdown of a breakup. Like there was a lot going on with her on stage at the Eras Tour where she was just like angrily performing so many of these songs. And like, then we got You're Losing Me and we get, Tortured Poets and all of that, the Maddie Healy of it all. And Travis like just came out of nowhere during the Eras Tour with a friendship bracelet and a dream. And now they are married. So it's really crazy, the roller coaster that we have been on with them. But it's really just been like an uphill thing. Like it's really been all good things. I mean, the podcast episode was so exciting. And like, there's just been so many little things that have happened over the last couple of years in the Taylor Swift cinematic universe with Travis Kelce that have just like never happened before with her in a relationship. And I'm very happy for our girl. I'm thrilled to see them tying the knot, taking this next step. And who knows what's next? Who knows if we get an album about being married or if she has a baby or whatever she wants to do. You take your time, girl. We have enough albums to last us for a very long time. So enjoy newlywed life. Go on a honeymoon. Go do whatever you want or release an album. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Congratulations to Taylor and Travis. Moving into the next moment of the week that was too pop to handle. Mariska Hargitay is set to host the 2026 Emmy Awards on NBC. The awards will take place on September 14th, 2026, and this will mark the first major hosting gig for the Emmy Award-winning actress. I feel like she's just having a huge moment right now. She's always been in the public eye and like a media darling. I feel like everybody loves her. She's one of those celebrities that really just like is friends with everybody in a good way. I mean, she just had her Broadway debut, and obviously, I mean, SVU was on season like 94, and she had My Mom Jane, I believe it was called, come out last year. Like, she's had so much going on in the last year, and I feel like she's really just having a moment. And like I said, she just feels like one of those celebrities that everybody loves and everybody wants to be friends with. So I'm loving this moment for her. I'm the biggest supporter of women hosting award shows. I say it after every single award show that isn't hosted by a woman, that we need more women hosting award shows. So seeing that Mariska is going to be hosting the Emmys, I feel like she has such good, banter and repertoire with so many celebrities that it's going to be just like a fun night. So I'm very excited for this. Again, that is in September. The next moment of the week that was too pop to handle. This, we're never going to hear the end of the Ashley Tisdale toxic mom essay. Like, it is never going to end, because it has been announced that Ashley Tisdale is executive producing a half-hour dark comedy for Netflix called Toxic Moms. The series is based on an original idea and informed by Tisdale's experience as a mom of 2 young children. So, the Toxic Mom essay really kicked off 2026 in January with like a bang. It was like one of our first big pop culture stories. So I shouldn't be that surprised that we are still hearing about it 7 months later. But I'm kind of surprised that we're hearing about it 7 months later. And what else is really shocking to me is that like Hilary Duff is on this giant comeback right now, and it is crushing. She is killing it. Like, it's doing so well. Mandy Moore just performed at the last Culture Risa Awards, so like she's in the public eye. Ashley Tisdale's doing her thing. And like all of this is happening while it's about them. And like, it's just really wild to me the way that this is all unfolding. And like, nobody seems bothered by it. Everyone's kind of just like, oh, yeah, okay, they're gonna make a show. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I am interested in the show. Like, this does sound like a show that I would be tapped into. But I am a little like, come on, Ashley. Like, do we need to make a TV show about this? Like, unfortunately, I will be sat and I will be tapped in, but like, I will be watching it kind of begrudgingly. Like, I'll be like, I don't want to hear no negative things about Hilary Duff. Like, I know there was a lot of things said back and forth, and the husbands got involved and the Instagram stories and then this and then that and blah, blah, blah. But like, at the end of the day, I still kind of do see Ashley Tisdale as playing victim a little bit in all of this. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm very curious how A, factual this TV show is going to be, and B, how they're going to be like painting all the other moms. If it's going to be obvious which mom is who. There's a lot of ways that they can go with this, and I am tapped in. Netflix also did say that they have not confirmed whether or not this was in the works prior to Ashley's piece that was inspired by it, or that if it was inspired by it or not. But like, this definitely helped fuel the fire. So like, whether they were working on this before or not, I'm going to go ahead and say no. Like, there was no way Ashley Tisdale was executive producing a TV show about toxic moms before that essay came out. Like, I just don't think that's possible, honestly. Like, that just wasn't something that was even on anyone's radar, because nobody was talking about it. It was kind of just like this mom group that fizzled out and no one thought about it, honestly. Like, nobody was thinking about the friendship between Ashley Tisdale, Hilary Duff, Mandy Moore, Meghan Trainor, and like all these people. It kind of was just like when it happened, everyone was like, oh yeah, they were all close for a while. So there's no way this was like being worked on before that essay came out and blew up and like took the world by storm. But I guess we'll wait and see. Unfortunately, I am very intrigued. I'm intrigued by this. I will be watching, but I'll be like one eye open kind of vibes. Oh my God, this next moment we're going to chat about. So this happened a little while ago. This happened, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, but I need to talk about it because it's just such a crazy sentence that I'm about to say. Club Chalamet was attacked outside of Connor Storrie's hotel in Paris. And now that sentence would kill a Victorian child. That sentence is so insanely unhinged in and of itself that it just is like, what timeline are we living in? So essentially, Connor Storrie was in Paris for Fashion Week, and Club Chalamet, who you may or may not know, she is a very hot topic on the internet. She ended up being in Paris at the same time as him. It did seem like it was a coincidence. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. She shows up to the hotel and somebody recognized her. And now she is a very like public facing person. She had like a whole shoot in the Wall Street Journal. Like people know her face, and like she is like an older Black woman. So like she unfortunately does stick out like a sore thumb at an event like this when it's normally much younger people. But she was wearing UV protective glasses and a mask. She was very specific about the fact that she was wearing all UV protection. And at first I was like reading her post about this, and I was like, why do we give a fuck they were wearing these glasses? And then I saw a photo of her in said protective gear. I don't know how this person realized it was Club Chalamet, because there was no way to identify her other than like maybe her nose and maybe her forehead. Like she was so incognito in this protective gear that I don't get how this person knew it was her. And so the story goes that they saw Club Chalamet at the hotel. They told security. And then when Connor Storrie came out, Club Chalamet lunged towards him. And then, I don't know, that's what was said. Club Chalamet's story is that they like ripped her down to the ground or something. There's all these stories being told. All I'm going to say is both of you are wrong for being at this hotel. Like the person who attacked Club Chalamet, it's just as weird as Club Chalamet for showing up to this man's hotel. So why are we throwing hands at Connor Storrie's hotel when you're both there just to get a glimpse of this man walking out of the hotel? And don't get me wrong, Club Chalamet, she is not perfect. She is nowhere near it. She has said a lot of problematic and weird things on the internet. But nobody deserves to be attacked. Nobody deserves to be like hands put on them, spoken to the way that she said that they spoke to her. Like whether it's true or not, there was some type of altercation and disagreement at Connor Storrie's hotel, and that's not okay. Nor is it okay to be outside of Connor Storrie's hotel. Like it's just all of these things are wrong. And when I saw this happen, like when I saw this, also there's a video of it happening, and Club Chalamet, not to take her side, but she does not go anywhere near the man. Like she literally stays put, takes her video and leaves. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird things happening, but Club Chalamet is such an enigma to me. Like she is such this like presence, one may say, on the internet. And everything I learn about her just intrigues me more and more and more. And that's all I gotta say. That's there's not much to say about it. It's just a crazy fucking story. And yeah, I don't know. That's, yeah. Just fucking crazy timeline. Speaking of crazy timelines, the Jonas Brothers are headed back to MSG and reviving their Burnin' Up tour from 2008. The Jonas Brothers are bringing the Burning Up tour all over again to Madison Square Garden later this year. They say that it is the tour that changed our lives. Camp Rock had just come out, and the A Little Bit Longer album was released during the tour. We got to experience what it felt like to build something special with all of you. So many stories we still talk about happened during those shows, and so we thought, why not run it back? For 2 nights only, we're bringing the Burning Up tour all over again to Madison Square Garden on August 20th and 21st. We're going to perform the original 2008 Burning Up tour set list and then keep the celebration going with more music that became part of our story. Now, this is exciting, and I did post on my Instagram story because I was like, why is everyone freaking... Before it was announced, I posted, why is everybody freaking out about the Jonas Brothers playing a show at MSG? The Jonas Brothers have not done anything but tour since 2019, to a point where it's like, are you guys broke? Like, why are you always on tour? And don't get me wrong, I'm going to the tours. Like, I'm going to see them. But it does make me raise a brow of like, when was the last time you were home? And when was the longest amount of time you have not been on a tour since 2019? I'll give you 2021 because of the pandemic. But, they were supposed to have residencies in 2020 and they got canceled because of the pandemic. Like, had the pandemic not happened, they would have toured that entire year as well. And it's not a bad thing per se. But it's like, what is going on that they always need to be on tour and performing? But that being said, and putting it aside, the Jonas Brothers reviving the Burning Up tour, this is huge. This is very exciting news because that's like some of the prime Jonas Brothers era. You know, you think about that era, that is, they had It's About Time, Jonas Brothers, a self-titled album, and like they said, A Little Bit Longer was released during that tour. Fun fact, I went to the Burning Up tour on August 11th, 2008, and A Little Bit Longer came out at midnight on August 12th, 2008. And if you were a Jonas Brothers fan, you may know that they went to the Virgin Megastore. I'm really showing that I'm from my early 30s right now. But they went to the Virgin Megastore after, and I begged and begged and begged my mom to go because it was like, you know, that was like 10 blocks away from the garden. She was like, all right, fine, we're going to do it. We walked about 6 blocks west into Times Square. She said, absolutely not. Turned around and we got on the train. But we tried. And I was there the night before the album came out. So that's a fun little lore piece about me. But, you know, as a really like at this point, a lifelong Jonas Brothers fan, I have some requests for the Burnin' Up tour all over again. I need the flips. I need you guys to be doing acrobats during Goodnight and Goodbye. I need the full string orchestra. I need the entire band on that stage. I need you guys to lift from the ground and fly over the audience during That's Just the Way We Roll. I need the drums with the water and then the fire coming down from the ceiling. And I need the Shania Twain cover. Those are all of my requests. They say that they're doing the set list exactly how it was in 2008. They say it's going to be exactly how it was back then. And then they're going to add some things on at the end. I'm just saying those are my requests. And I'm very excited to see how this goes. I mean, like I said, the Burnin' Up tour was some of like the prime time of the Jonas Brothers. Like that was really like the peak, I feel like, of their career. Like they had Camp Rock had just come out. They were touring with Demi. That was when Taylor Swift came out and performed with them. Like they had a really big moment in 2008. And like 2009, they were still doing their thing. Lines of Unchained Times came out. And then, you know, it started to kind of dwindle from there a little bit. I was unfortunately still there as if they were the biggest band in the world still up until they broke up. But like, This is the era that I would want to see revived if there was one. And like looking at the set list for the Burnin' Up tour and thinking about like hearing this set list live again. Yeah, I'm a little giddy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I am like, I'm kicking my feet. Like I'm a little excited. I'm not gonna lie. But those are my requests. So you've heard what I had to say, boys. Flips, Shania Twain, drums with the water, flying for That's Just the Way We Roll. Very simple. But I expect to, I expect to have my request fulfilled. And we will have to wait and see until August to see if these all come true. But very exciting, you know. One thing about the Jonas Brothers, they're just going to do whatever the hell they want. And I respect them for that. The next moment of the week that is just too pop to handle. This news is fucking crazy. Jussie Smollett and Karamo Brown are dating. And now... You want to talk about two stunt queens looking at each other and saying this is exactly what this relationship is. So Karamo Brown did an interview the same day that photos of them were posted, which seems very pointed because he didn't say a single name in the interview, but he did say that I know it. I'm 100% sure I could get emotional. I've met my equal. It's powerful when you meet someone who you feel 100% safe with, who you feel 100% secure with, who you can just trust with your heart because you know that they are just a great human being and they get everything. It's special. It's pretty amazing. He didn't say any names in this interview, but legitimately like an hour and a half after this interview came out, he was seen with Jussie Smollett. And like, obviously, they were dating, they're kissing, they're holding hands, whatever. And don't get me wrong. I love to see a gay couple. I love to see a black gay couple at that. This is incredible for that matter of fact. But knowing what we know about these two and knowing how much the two of them love a stunt and love, a little, I don't want to call it a hot mic moment, but like they love their moment in the spotlight. I'm tapped in. I'm tapped in. I mean, Karamo, that whole People magazine interview he just did, that was like basically saying nothing about the Queer Eye guys. Like it was very nothing. Jussie like just got out of, just called off an engagement and like, it's only been 5 years since this whole scandal with like lying about that hate crime. Like, there's a lot, and you can grow. People can change. I'm not going to deny that. And like maybe the two of them maybe they're bringing out truly the better half in each other. And I love that for them. But I'm keeping my eyes on this couple. I'm not going to lie. I'm just very intrigued. Like seeing these two names together. All right, we're going to, these are the times where I wish Wendy Williams was still on air. These are the times I need Wendy Williams sitting in that chair, sipping her tea. How you doing? But happy for them. Congratulations, you lovebirds. I hope you guys really are bringing out the best in each other. I'm serious. Like I want to see this succeed. I want them to prove all of us wrong and for this to be endgame marriage, years and years. And I'm not praying for anyone to ever break up. I would not wish that upon anybody because like, who am I? That's evil. But it's definitely a pairing. Moving into the next and kind of the final moment, because our last moment ties us right into our TV recap. Moment of the week that was too pop to handle. Hilary Duff is the first celebrity ambassador for Bath & Body Works to help promote their Fruit Fusion line, a new line of hydrating body products with a fruit-forward scent. To promote the line, Bath & Body Works has tapped Disney icon Hilary Duff as its first major celebrity ambassador ever. I love this. I think this is just exactly this just makes so much sense. This is a genius partnership and there's layers to this. So first things first, Hilary Duff is having a insane moment right now. Her tour is doing so well. It's blowing up on TikTok. Her album was really good. I really enjoyed it. She's just like having such a huge comeback moment. And I've been saying this for months, but like her team is killing this comeback. Like this has been one of the best rollouts. I wrote a whole Substack post about it actually. Really, really incredible rollout for this album, for this comeback. They're doing the perfect, dose of nostalgia, the perfect mature and like turned up a little bit, but like not too much, like just stand out comeback. So Hilary is such a buzzy person to tap. And, for the first celebrity ambassador for Bath & Body Works, who else are you going to tap than a Y2K icon? Hits your millennial demographic right there, hits your mom demographic. And also, let's give some kudos to Bath & Body Works for going this many years. And this is their first celebrity ambassador. That is one of these stores that has been in a mall for as long as I can remember. I don't remember ever going to a mall and not seeing a Bath & Body Works and also not having it full. There are always people shopping in Bath & Body Works. It is always packed. There are always people getting their 3-for-3 candles, their hand sanitizers. Like, kudos to Bath & Body Works for staying afloat when so many other stores have gone under since then. And the fact that this is their first celebrity ambassador is so impressive from a brand and marketing standpoint, because the first thing that you do as a brand to get publicity and to get in front of people and for brand recognition is hire a celebrity ambassador. So they have gone so many years. Actually, I don't even know, when did Bath & Body Works, when did they come to fruition? Founded. They were founded in 1990, which is pretty crazy. They've been this strong for this long with like a loyal fan base and no celebrity partnerships. That is really impressive. And also when you think this is a fruit fusion line, so it's a new hydrating body product with fruit forward scents. That just like screams Y2K to me. If you remember those back in the day, like all like the fruity body washes and like, it was such like a millennial thing to like go get like every scent from Bath & Body Works. And it just really makes sense. And again, Hilary Duff has grown up with all of us and we're watching her kind of evolve into this next era. And now like all of this is happening. I just think this is genius. I think this is a great idea on everybody's part. Kudos all around. I love when a brand gets it right. This is chef's kiss. Fantastic. I love this. And then the final moment of the week that actually just brings us right into our TV recap, which is starting out with the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion. Liz is not returning for Real Housewives of Rhode Island season 2, and I am crushed by this news. I have said since episode 1, Rhode Island is a perfectly cast show. They struck gold with these women, and I did not want them to edit this cast at all. I wanted season 2 with no friends of, no new housewives, nobody leaving, everybody to stay exactly put. But it is very clear that this is Liz's decision. Andy even commented on it and said, there's always a spot for you to come back. The door is clearly very open. This is definitely Liz leaving for her own reasons. Now, I don't know what those reasons are, and I'm not going to speculate what those reasons are. And, you know, if you've got skeletons in your closet and you need to leave a reality show before they come out, that is on you. I can't blame you for leaving, and I'm not accusing her of having skeletons in her closet. I don't know. Who knows why she's leaving? But I am very sad that she will not be back for season 2 because I loved her during season 1. There were definitely some notes and there were definitely some things where I was like, you're going a little too far, which leads me into the reunion. I feel like she was really going in on Joellen so intensely. And I talked about this with Josh a little bit, but I hadn't watched the reunion yet when we spoke. It was really scary the way that Liz was going in at Joellen and calling her a demon and evil and all these things. Like, it was a really intense kind of like interrogation against Joellen from Liz that kind of came out of nowhere, especially when Joellen said, we got together on Mother's Day 3 weeks ago. We were fine. Why is this happening right now? So it was definitely very strange, and I wanted to kind of see them have like a redemption arc in season 2 if Joellen allowed it. But I guess now we're not going to see that. I don't know. But really sad that Liz won't be returning, which I guess just means we have more time for Joellen to be the FBI for Rula and her husband, because clearly we're sitting on this couch and Rula is learning things about Brian from Joellen live on camera. Like, she is literally learning that the divorce wasn't finalized until so many years ago. And there's like the fact that Joellen, I mean, let's call it what it is. Joellen needs to be hired by the FBI. Like, Joellen is a master when it comes to sleuthing. And the fact that she was pulling up like court documents and screenshots and this and that, and really just like proving why, like, she's like, hey, I tried to be a girl's girl. I tried to be nice about this, and you didn't want me to be. So now I'm going to be a cunt about it. And like, good for you. And they're like, you're a psychopath. And she's like, yeah, thanks. I know. You know, Joellen, you are... Alicia will always be my number one, I fear. Like, I love her so much. But like, if there's a 1.5 ranking, Joellen is that. I love this woman so much. Like, she is a perfect housewife. And I am so excited to watch her just continue doing her thing on season 2. I just feel like she really does. She has what it takes to be a golden Hall of Fame housewife, and I'm just waiting to watch it kind of unfold more. Other than that, I mean, the Rosie and Kelce of it all, I hope they drop it. They were just at an event together, so I'm hoping they're okay. Like I was saying on my episode with Josh, I really hope that Ashley kind of comes into her own on season 2, and I want her to really like blossom and spread her wings and realize like I don't need to just be friends with Rosie. I can be friends with everybody, and it doesn't need to be so one-sided. I can't say it enough. I mean, what a fantastic first season. Just incredible. And their cameras are up. I saw that they were filming at Audrey's literally today. So cameras are up. They are filming for season 2. Hopefully we'll be back ASAP. Like, I want this show to be live streaming. The way that they produce Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they need to be producing Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Like, I need to see these women back on my screen ASAP. Rocky. What a fantastic season 1. And then moving into Love Island. Now, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've spoken about Love Island. The last time we had spoken, they had just gone to Casa Amor. Oh, how the turntables. Like, it has been... What a 180 this season has done. I'm obviously not going to cover the entirety of what we have missed and what has happened because it's already an hour-long episode. I will be here for another hour and a half. I'm kind of just going to go through just quick each couple and kind of like the highlights. First of all, that Casa Amor recoupling, that was cinema. That was cinematic. It was so good, but crushed me at the same time. Like, watching Melanie and Sincere couple back up just pained me because I hate Sincere. But then watching her ring him a new asshole after he thought they were like all good. I'm on the Melanie train. I am team Melanie, but not team Melanie and Sincere. She's crushing it. She's kind of doing what exactly I needed her to do, and I'm happy to watch it happen. I did think on last night's episode when he was like, I want to make you my wife. I want to be the mom of my kids. She's never going to leave this man, and I do fear they're going to be toxic forever. But I think she's going to keep him in his place. I hope. I don't know. I really don't like Sincere. And if Melanie and Sincere, they're going to get to the top 4. Like, they're going to make it. I know that they are. They can't win this show, you guys. Like, Melanie and Sincere cannot win this show. There is no way, no how. And then we have Casey and Anaya. So when it comes to the Casa Amor recoupling, I don't know why Anaya was so shocked that Casey came back with somebody else, because he literally looked her square in her face and said, I was the only guy who wanted to keep Soul so I could keep exploring. Baby, he had a first-class ticket, one-way trip to go explore somewhere else. Thought he wasn't going to bring another girl back? You heard him talking about you so incredibly foul during the heart rate challenge, and you thought he was going to pick you? I hate to say it, but like, are you stupid or are you dumb? And I say that respectfully, because like, girl, have some self-respect. You gave up Carl, and now you and I, me, the listener and I, we haven't spoken since Carl has come into play. I love this man. I love Carl. I love his looks. I love his personality. I love the way he treats Anaya. I love how open he was to coming back to the villa and taking Anaya back. I think Carl is the textbook definition of a perfect man. I do. I think he is scrumptious. I love him. I love Carl. Now, Anaya is very lucky that Carl was so willing to take her back when he came back to the villa, and that Carl is a perfect angel and, you know, he's never done anything wrong in his life. But now what I will say is the way that Anaya acted during movie night. Now, what Casey said and how Casey acted was nowhere near okay. Now, I want to make that very clear. Nothing Casey has done really at all in this season has been okay. I wanted Anaya to compose herself a little bit more and not get so crazy about it. Like, I wish she would have, like, especially with Carl being there, if she would have been able to be like, you scream at him, get mad, whatever. But I just think she went so insanely far with it where like it turned me off as like you're clearly not over this. And like, you knew some of the things that he said already. And again, what he said was not okay. Not okay in the slightest. I am not defending him at all. But I did really think Anaya could have pulled through and like Serena'd it. You know, remember when Cordell came back and he walked in and she literally like put the finger up and licked it and was just like a bad bitch. And then had the moment after, like Serena had the one episode where she like freaked out. The way that Anaya just like was so, let this really ruin her time in the villa for a moment. It really upset me to watch, because I was like, girl, you can do so much better and you deserve so much better. And you're like, you're, you know, telling everyone else, leave this person, do that. Well, actually, maybe I shouldn't be that surprised, because she is team Sincere. Maybe I should reevaluate that. But I just felt really bad that she was so hurt by this. And then she freaks out on KC. And like almost, it was like embarrassing for her to freak out like that after she was already, Carl was back and she wasn't even single. And it's like, yeah, of course, stand your ground to stand up for yourself. But there's a way to stand up for yourself that isn't making a fool of yourself. And it was just really upsetting to watch. I love Carl. I love that Carl is back. I'm happy that him and Anaya are together. I don't want them to win, though. It just doesn't feel like they should be the winning couple when we have Brinity. Like, maybe if Brinity wasn't in the picture, then sure, maybe I could see Carl and Anaya, just because everybody loves Carl so much and hates KC that they want Anaya to win because of that. But there's no world where Brinity doesn't win this, right? Like, after that Casa Amor coupling, after they had not one bad clip during movie night, their boyfriend and girlfriend in the villa, like, they have to win. They're going to win this season. Zach and Kata, this last episode or two I can kind of see her cracking and being like, why doesn't America like me? Same with Zach. They're like definitely a little shook up by the fact that like America didn't vote them as one of their most compatible. And like it seems like now Kata is like really just trying to like double down that like we're compatible, we're compatible. And Zach is like crashing out in the bed and like so upset. And I'm like, if you're so compatible, just stop telling us. Like, why do you care then? Like, obviously, yeah, you guys want to win the money and like you're there to win something. But if you are there to find love and you guys are compatible and you're going to exist outside of the villa, let it go. You know, like, all right, so what? You'll be fine. I do see Zach and Kata going to the final four. I think they will end up winning. Not winning, but I think they will go through to the final. But I was really shocked at how the two of them both were kind of crashing out so intensely over the fact that they weren't one of America's most compatible. Also crazy that Zach nor any of the girls told Kata that Alana was kicked out of the villa. I do think Zach would have came back for her anyway, but it is crazy that like that was left out because that is a huge detail to decide to forget to tell somebody. Not my villa though, not my circus, not my monkeys. Kenzie's got to go. Kenzie has got to go. She's exploring, and that's fine. You're allowed to explore in the villa, but the way that she's been going about it since day one, since episode 1, is so slimy, and she's acting like she's like, oh, I was just exploring. And no, girl, you know what you're doing. You're an adult. Go clam slam somewhere else. Like, and now Dylan is like crashing out, and Dylan's all butthurt, like, oh, maybe I'm having second thoughts. And she's like, I'm done. I don't want Kenzie there. I don't want Dylan there. If they can go home right now, I would be fine. They might be going home. It's literally airing right now as I'm recording. I'm over Kenzie. I'm over Dylan. I think that's every couple. I think that's everybody who's left, right? Parmita and Corbin just left. You know, I'm going to give Parmita some flowers for a second because the fact that she was the only one who told Melanie you deserve better, I respect that. I don't love Corbin and Parmita. Like, I think, wow, we have not even spoken since they've even been a couple. That's crazy. They're made for each other, unfortunately. Like, I don't like either of them necessarily. Like, I don't like them as a couple. I definitely don't like Corbin. Parmita, I have like a little more room for, but like, yeah, that was a lot. But I do respect Parmita for telling Melanie to her face, you deserve better. Oh my God, TT coming in saying, I'm TT, and then like going toe to toe with Trinity. That was crazy. However, I've done a 180 on TT, and I like her a lot now. I think she just came in from Casa Amor. Things were hot. Tensions were high. You know, it is what it is. I do like TT a lot. Not enough to make me like KC. I don't really like any of the boys except for Bryce and Carl. I tolerate Zach, but even that's like, like he's fine. Like it is what it is. Yeah, we're almost done. Honestly, I can't wait for the season to be over. I feel like all I do is watch Love Island because it's so time consuming, but it did get good after Casa Amor. I'll give it that. There were moments where I was like, guys, this show, like, why are we watching it still? Like, it's so produced and no one's exploring. After Casa Amor, they turned up the heat, and I will give them flowers where flowers are due. I'm going to just go ahead now and say that Brinity's winning. And by the time I record next week, I believe the finale is the 12th. Yeah, so by next week's episode, we will know. Oh my God, I think I just saw a spoiler. Okay, never mind. I'm reading my group chat about Love Island right now that's going off, but let me not so I can watch the episode. But I believe it ends on Sunday the 12th. So by next week, we will know who won, and I am going to go ahead and say Trinity and Bryce, because who else is going to win? You know, like, come on, they've got to win. But that's our TV recap, and that means we have made it to the final segment of this week's episode, our yes and our mess. We end every single episode of Too Pop to Handle with a yes and a mess, a yes being something I am loving and a mess being something I am not loving, and we always start on a high note. So my yes this week: the devil works hard, but Law Roach works harder. The fact that Zendaya wore a Schiaparelli haute couture gown to the Odyssey premiere in London, that walked and debuted on the runway in Paris that morning, and Law Roach was at the Schiaparelli show in Paris, got the dress off the runway. This is not a ready-to-wear look. This was a custom haute couture gown. He got the dress, got on a plane, flew to London, and Zendaya wore it on a carpet the same day that it premiered. Nobody is doing it like La Roche and Zendaya. Nobody is. That is insane behavior. And of course there was an outfit change after too. Like there's always multiple looks. She just showed up. I don't know where the premiere is tonight for the Odyssey, but there's another one tonight. And she showed up looking like Athena, like a Greek goddess. She's got this big gold piece on her head. Like I don't know when, because there's so much more that I think Zendaya and La Roche are going to do together. I need a coffee table book of Zendaya and Law's looks one day, because like they truly are a style match made in heaven. This is not new information. We all know this. But the fact that La Roche watched that dress debut on the runway that morning, got the dress, probably off the model, probably ran backstage after it walked, took it off the model, went to London's, and they wore it that night. That is insane work. And I want to know, did they know she was going to be wearing this dress prior to this? Like, did Law know this was what she was going to wear, but just needed it to debut? Or did he see it and was like, you got to give it to me? Like, I want to know how that all shook out, you know? Because, like, that's not an easy feat to do. But nonetheless, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be La Roche. And that is just what I like to see. Like, that is so incredibly impressive. Fucking phenomenal. And switching gears to my mess for the week, I'm really sad to report this, but A24 has signed a $75 million, I believe, deal with Google to welcome AI into their creative process. They're giving this whole storyline about the fact that like they're using it so they can build the AI to help create movies, so it doesn't get like a bad, there's not like a negative effect of creators using it. There is no way to use AI in an ethical way. Let's call it what it is. I don't care what your intentions are. I don't care how you're using it. I don't care who you are. I don't care. There is no ethical way to use AI. And if you were saying you're using AI to catch up with the times or so you don't get left behind, I navigate my life every single day. I don't think about using AI. I think about it when I see bullshit like A24 using AI. I don't think about AI. I use my brain. I exercise my own right to think and to speak. And it's just really crazy that everyone seems to be welcoming this really detrimental tool, quote unquote, as they're calling it, into their everyday life and like is okay with it. Like, I know I'm not alone. I know there are other people out there who are like me that feel like we're screaming into a void of like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we all not capable of thinking for ourselves? But when you see A24, who is like the leading indie, creative hub of movies, it's like, what? I mean, Backrooms, an A24 movie, just had like such a huge, massive hit. And then this happens. I canceled my A24 membership. I just am so let down. And it's like, am I never going to see an A24 movie again? No, of course I will, unfortunately, because like I'm a movie person and I enjoy these movies. But I'll tell you right now, if A24 releases a movie that uses any bit of AI, not for me. No. I'll be skipping her. Yeah. Just like, what the fuck, Yeah, and that's our show. Oh, it felt so good to be back just talking about anything and everything pop culture with you guys. With that, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you guys liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, do not be shy. Go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating. If you're watching us on YouTube, also do not be shy. Go ahead and hit subscribe, drop a comment, hit like. You know the drill by now. If you would like more moments of the week that were too pop to handle in between podcast episodes, you can head over to my Substack at toopoptohandle.substack.com, or of course, it will be linked down below and you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter where I send out extra pop culture moments in between podcast episodes. And if all of that is not enough, you can always follow me on my social platforms at Andrew Nucatola or at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. And until then, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.